Won't get my hair cut tomorrow. Give me 2 seconds. Alright, mate. Right, calm down, shoot up. Shoot up, come on. There you go. Come on, guys, then. Bit early. Give us a sound check, guys. It's a bit closer. Okay, guys. Evening, Alison, Foxy Lad, Tomo, Stuggett, Florida. How you doing? How's the tooth? Don't, Caitlin. Sound is great, thank you. All good, thank you, Caitlin. Gary, Belfast, sounds good, thank you, guys. Alan, how you doing? From Lauren, how you doing, bro? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love the fact that we get Americans in. England's gone, unrecognisable. I'm just pissed off. I'm at that stage now where I'm getting a bit pissed off now with it, guys. But I'll get into that in a wee minute. It's just my jacket. Oh. Hi from Spain, Mark. All right, William. Hi, Spain. Sunny Spain. Waterboat, even from Cullybacky. I like Cullybacky. Eden Freedom Dad, much love. Thank you, Ursula Chick, Stargate. As an American, I wonder how bad really it looks. I'm going to fucking just tell you how bad it is tonight, you know what I mean? Because I'm sick of all the bullshit, to be honest with you, man. I'm sick of everybody pretending everything's all right and all that. And, you know, all these demos are going to fix stuff and all that. And reform's the answer and all the rest of it, you know what I mean? Everything good with sound from England. Hear you loud and clear. Thank you, William Kidd. If you're not eating, at least keep hydrated. I am. Well, I am. I took 2 Nurofen. You know what I mean? I bit the bullet, guys. You know what I mean? All right, Freedom Dad. Because like most people around me, not around me, but most people in working class. Come on, guys. Out you go. Come on, let's go. Use 2. You're starting to fight. 2 seconds, guys. Come on, let's go. Straighten her up. Come on. Come here. Come here. Come on. Here you go. Three jacket. Right, guys, let me catch up with your comments. Lady J, good to see you. Hillbilly John, Assay, J Noble, Mark Story, hi from Atlanta. Good evening from the Black Country, England. Good evening, blessed to be English. You're not gonna like this, like. I spent 11 hours in Antrim, as we told, to take painkillers, which are not allowed because of heart issues. Just to go on about the painkillers, guys, you know what I mean? You know, I'm around, like, working class areas, you know, Liverpool, Glasgow, you know what I mean? Fucking, you name it. And then the jail, you know, being in the jails, you meet all the people in the working class areas that have mental health issues, you know, drug issues, alcohol issues, you know, they all end up in jail, you know. And like at the start, they'll start off, normally what happens with the system, this is what happens with the system, let's be honest with you. It didn't happen with me. I was just straight in the armed robberies, you know what I mean, when I was 16. But most guys, what normally happens is I feel it's like, they start off like something stupid, you know what I mean? This day and age, and I'm not talking about when I was young and the jail I've done, I'm talking about the jail today. I've sent you a PM regarding Ballykilner Old Army Base. Yes, I've got it, mate. I've got it. I've got it. Um, I'll maybe read it out. I'll maybe read it out. To believe it or not, mate, I think you were the first one to send it, but yeah, I've had it a few times, mate. You know what I mean? I believe it's for criminals. I believe it's for guys that are coming over that they think have got criminal records or are a bit dodgy. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it's hot in Atlanta. But no, what I'm saying about the jail, before going about what the topic is, let's let people build up and why I don't take painkillers. Like everybody around me knows me that, everybody, all my life, you know what I mean? I do not take painkillers. And the reason why, I think mostly would have been because of Scotland, high fear across the water, Airdrie. All right, mate, well, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you've been in jail. Creates an addiction. No, well, yeah, 100%. High top cat. But for an example, when I got 18 years, I was in the first year. I was an ACAT prisoner in Kilmarnock prison, and so I was kept in solitary confinement. And eventually, like, I got back. I got onto the wings. I didn't last in the place anymore. I think a month, and they moved me to Barlinnie. But I managed to get onto the wings, and I met some boys from Kilmarnock and Ayrshire. You know what I mean? And some gangsters. Some tasty boys. You know what I mean? And one in particular was really close to him. I'm not going to say any names or anything like that. And he became a good friend. And then obviously I get moved to Barlinnie. He was only in for something silly, so he would have me back out on the street. You know what I mean? Lanarkshire, love you. Freedom Dad, thank you. Ayrshire check. We love. I love Lanarkshire as well. You know what I mean? Certain parts of it, some parts of it not so much. But you know what parts I'm talking about. But yeah, basically, like, long story short, so done my sentence, and then met him like 6 7 years later in the jail. Like, so this is start to finish, and he was just he wasn't the man. He wasn't the man. He wasn't the man I knew. He wasn't the man. He was done. He was done. Drugs just got a hold of him. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're right. And in some jails, I'm not too sure about our jails, and it wouldn't happen in the wings. I would be going on, like, to be honest with you. But I don't know what it's like in some of the other wings, the mixed wings with Protestants and Catholics. I have no clue. You know what I mean? And I know there's drugs in the jails and that. I know that. You know what I mean? And I know Belfast, Northern Ireland has changed a lot. The drugs is in the areas, like I told you, they're not in our areas. You know what I mean? Obviously, you've got your normal stuff like weed and white, but the hardcore drugs, we don't have them in our areas, but they are in the other areas. And I'm not going to go on about it because sometimes I feel people are pulling the Catholic side up, and it's not nothing to do with the Catholic side. It's the people who's running your areas. It's nothing to do with you guys. It's whoever's in charge that's allowing it to happen. But one of the things that I've found out, like, talking to people, being interested in stuff like this and understanding what's going on with the drug scene, is painkillers. Painkillers is, if not as big, I believe painkiller addiction is bigger than all your other ones that we all know. You know what I mean? I don't want to say the names because you can be funny about saying these sort of names, but you know what I'm talking about. White, brown, and what they do with the white. You know what I mean? Most people just up the nose, but there's other things you can do with it that's far out there and very, very addictive. And so, I believe that painkiller addiction in our communities is a lot worse than what the government everybody keeps talking about. You know what I mean? And the problem with painkillers is, just in Freedom Dad again, tuned in from East Cork. Thank you, mate. It goes quite fast. Big message, big comments, guys. I'm not. By the time I get halfway through it, there's another few comments come. So you can drop a couple of wee comments and have it all together. I'll catch it. I'll try my best to try and talk to you and read comments. It is difficult, but probably I grew up with Ronnie. He was a proper scallywag. Hello, Tiger. Ah, let me have a wee look at that. Brian James Brown. You know, it's just maybe a coincidence. Hello, Freedom Dad. Hello, Ed, me, and everyone. Only reading comments. Man, my missus is watching soaps. She's been up to her eyes watching live since Epping Pass was on his feed all day. Yeah. Thanks for the advice, Window Man, but you know, we are trying to sort other stuff out right now and got to wait till the morning. The mainland is rising up. Yeah. So anyway, just quickly talking about the painkillers, guys, and you know, so what the crack is with the painkillers, you know what I mean? So you've got your the painkillers that I know of that's in my communities and been around everybody that I know, mostly their parents, you know what I mean? How did Freedom Dad? I was what was that about British Pass? Yeah. To be honest with you, I came back and fell asleep because I was up all night. Woke up at 6, loads of messages. Fucking one of my best friends is like fucking wanting me to go somewhere to cover something that's happening in the night. And on the Shore Road, guys, if anybody's from Belfast, there's only 115 areas in, but something going on the Shore Road tonight, and you should be giving them their support, you know what I mean? I'm just gutted I couldn't get there. It's just with this, no sleeping. I'm just not right to be doing lives out on the street and interviewing people. And I am devastated because there's a couple of places I should be, you know what I mean? And yeah, everything's going up, you know. Sorry, supposed to be die, Freedom Dad. I know the Shore Road well. Yeah. So like there's a lot happening, guys, but I'll get into that in a minute. So yeah, so what happens with the painkillers is the painkillers that they're giving people are like opiates, you know what I mean? They're like opiates, synthetic opiates, you know what I mean? Tramadol's a big one. A lot of people are on. You've got gabapentin as well, and cocodamol. You know what I mean? And so what happens with these tablets is if you take them for any more than 3 or 4 days, when you stop taking them, you get sore heads. You don't feel good. You don't feel right, and you think it's a continuation with what was wrong with you. You know. So then you go and you take more, and it does builds up. It gets to a stage where you're completely addicted to these tablets. And please, these tablets are opiates. You know what I mean? They're opiates. It's just like what people on the street take, the brown stuff, but not as hardcore. But it still has the same effect, and that's what goes on. So then what happens then with them, this is my opinion for education and educational entertainment purposes only. I am not a doctor. Do not take anything I say as medical advice. This is my opinion of my experience in prison and in communities where it seems to be rife, where everybody has boxes of tablets. That's what I'm just bringing, what I'm seeing with my own eyes in the working class areas around Northern Ireland, England and Scotland, okay? And there's no anybody that I've ever spoke to or any time I've spoke about this in any of my videos that the messages haven't been full of people saying, I know, I see that as well. Obviously there's good people out there, not good people, but people who just know better, you know, and this is the point I'm trying to get across. You've got to get this across to other people. Whether you're sitting taking tablets or not, you've got to let other people know that, you know, there's other ways of sorting things out than going to the doctors, especially minor things like headaches or upset stomachs or something, or aches and pains, you know, things that you would get painkillers for. There's other things out there that's available, you know what I mean? That God give us, mate. God give us it. It's there out there. You know, I'm not going to get into it because a lot of people think you're nuts. I was addicted to tramadol, right? Let me read some of these because this is a serious subject. I was on gabapentin after spinal surgery. The withdrawal was horrendous. I know. I have friends. Who have had to go through this. And please believe me, these guys, Like, there's a lot of guys I know with gunshot injuries, obviously, you know what I mean? Like, there was a badge of honour, they get shot back in the day, you know what I mean? And some other guys have had bad beatings with baseball bats and all the rest of it, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's like, always, anytime I'm around these guys, they're all on heavy medication, you know? And they're in a rut. They are in a rut. Move. Oh, Jerry, I'm not 100% sure, mate. I've been at the hospital half the day, came home, fell asleep, woke up, loads of messages. But it'll be a protest, a demonstration, and people's had enough. You know, like I say, people have had enough in Northern Ireland. Things are changing. God forbid, stop it, you. What are you all about? God forbid anything bad happens in this country. I mean, extremely bad. This place is up. You know what I mean? Yeah, codeine, very addictive. Yeah, yeah, Alison. Yeah. Yes, Talgar, that's it, mate. Yeah, it's called rebound. The mind trying to tell you that you need to pop another one. Almost killed my mother. A3, yeah. Yeah, turns into morphine, yeah, bloodstream. I don't, yeah, fair enough. I don't know that. I'm disagreeing with you, like, because like I say, I'm not a doctor. Addicted to tramadol after a back operation, yeah. Killed, yeah, unalived your sister. Can't read them all, guys. In the USA, opiates have lain waste to the whole population. And, you know, this is the thing, guys. It's like, you know, there's somebody in America. And I know this isn't what we're here to talk about. I'm just touching on this because I got toothache and I don't take painkillers. But I did take 2 Nurofen because I had to take something. You know what I mean? I had to take something. I took Cocodamol last night and I'm never going to take it again because, like, yeah, well, at least maybe in a week or 2 weeks, if I ever need it again, I would take it once and never take it again for a long time after that. So this is the problem. It's addictive. You know, this is what I always try and think about. If my daughter or my son or my mother or my auntie, right, was fucking feeling sore or something, or something was going on, and I knew what I was doing by giving them something like codeine or whatever, anything else that would be addictive, okay? That to me would be mental. You know, that to me would be absolutely mental. Why would you do that to somebody you care about? You know what I mean? You would go out of your way to find another way of sorting the problem out. Obviously, if it was an extreme, but it's never extreme, guys. It's people going with sore backs, sore shoulders, you know what I mean? People who are working bent over, brickies, whatever, sore hands, headaches because of maybe not drinking enough water, you know, headaches because of stress, headaches because of the lifestyle. Doctors, boom, painkillers. You know, the headaches are still there because it's stress. It's nothing to do with anything else but the stress. And then a stronger painkiller. You know, so the people that do this, they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? They know that, you know, that these people that they've started off with the old painkiller at the start, they know they're going to come back because after a wee while it'll give them a sore stomach because of the chalk. You know what I mean? And then they'll get something for the stomach, and then there'll be an adverse reaction to something that, and then you get something else. And that is the common theme. This is not misinformation, guys. You know what I mean? This is my opinion of what everybody tells me because I'm really interested in it. I'm really interested in that kind of thing because it's affecting my society. So I need to take an interest, you know, this is bigger than a lot of things, you know what I mean? It is truly affecting my society and every society I've been in, you know, and everybody I know and care about, their loved ones, or they know somebody who this is a big problem with, you know what I mean? And yeah, so like I say, guys, it's a bit strange, isn't it? You know what I mean? That Freedom Dad here knows that it's wrong on every other level, and logically, there's a lot better way of addressing things, but yet we're in a situation where quite a lot of our population are sitting relying on all sorts of medication. And one of the things you've got to ask yourself, if anything did go wrong, in this world with electricity and Wi-Fi, where would the medication come from? And some of the effects that some of the antidepressants, like, I don't want to say anything, but somebody I was with was on antidepressants and they changed them. You know what I mean? Like, either changed them or they stopped them. You know what I mean? And I've never seen somebody change like this before. You know what I mean? Like, something happened where they totally changed into somebody totally erratic. Like dangerously trying to unalive themselves, jumping out of cars and just doing crazy things. And it's like at first you think, my God, this person you care about's totally lost their mind. You're thinking mental hospital, straitjackets. You know what I mean? But that was the process, you know what I mean? That was a protest and it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. So just imagine hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people going through that at once, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's all wrong on so many levels. You wonder how we survived many, many years ago. The mixed bloods at normal levels, always tell a doctor you'll do your own research. Yeah, it's difficult, you know what I mean, because we need doctors, you know what I mean. It's like, we get all sorts of stuff like leukemia and cancers and all sorts of things, you know what I mean, where we need care, but it's just seems to be, I've seen people deteriorate, you know what I mean, from like 20s, 30s into 40s and 50s because they're just sitting having to take tablets every day. Hello. Sorry if I've missed any names, guys. It's just a touchy subject. Next year, you're talking to each other. That's good. That's good. Right, calm down. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah. Anyway, what's triggered me? What has triggered me? Dino being, fucking Dino being. So he's put on he's done a video. Don't know if any, some of you will have seen it, and it's stop it, Tulip. It's a Pakistani man or an Indian man. I don't know who it is, and basically he's being asked by an American what's going on in England, and he basically saying that they're here to take over. They're here to take over, and the guy said to him, so once you take over, right, calm down, guys. Once you take over, would it not just go back to the way it was where you're from? And the guy turned around and said, no, he just wants to take us back to the Stone Age, like us. He only said England. And one of the problems I've got is this is probably the 30th time this year I've heard this from foreigners and Muslims, whether it be clerics, whether it be, I'm not going to mention any names because I just don't like mentioning them. You know who I'm talking about. There's social media Muslim men out there who just love to give it all that, and I listen very carefully to them, I listen very carefully to any Muslim who is influential. Okay, this is what you've always got. Everything's always logical, guys. I promise you. It's not complicated. So whenever you've got influential Muslim men who are online, or they're clerics, doesn't England, Europe, whatever, English speaking. So what the first thing you do is you look at the following. Who follows them? How many followers do they have? How much credit do they have? Right. The second thing you do is you look at the comments. Okay. But you don't look at the comments on. So wherever we watch the video, right? Where we watch the video, the comments will be all against Islam and saying you'll never do it, blah blah blah. But chill up, leave me alone. But you've got to go to the source. Always go to the source, or go to one of the sources. You know what I mean? And read the comments. So for me, the way I look at things and see things, when we have men saying that they're here to take over, there will be ISIS flags or Islamic flags flying on top of Buckingham Palace and all the rest of it, and the confidence and the way they say it, they're so sure. It's not a joke. It's not, they make a joke, we're not here to play, whatever it is. We're not here. We're here to take over. I've heard that as well on a podcast. Well, we chuckle after it, you know what I mean? But it came into the head, so it was said, you know what I mean? And then the wee chuckle came after it. And the thing, what I'm trying to get at, guys, is that If anybody's in a vulnerable position to be taken over, if that is the goals, then it's England, you know. And I don't understand why other guys aren't speaking like me. It doesn't make any sense when I look at everything logically. Look at the numbers, the figures, you know. GB News saying you're going to be a minority in 30 years, you know. You've got Reform who aren't going to do absolutely anything, probably just keep bringing them in. You know, you've got Starmer at the very, very best he can do is one out, one in, which is another lie. They go on about the boats, and it's the tip of the iceberg, and you all still keep going on about the boats, stop the boats, stop the boats, but you don't look at the visas, you don't look at the education, you're not paying attention to people like the Afghanistans that are coming over that are going to bring at least 10 people with them. You don't understand that every time they give asylum to one foreigner, they bring at least another 10 to 20 with them because they're allowed to bring their family. It's like things that are so obvious. You know, when you're looking at a figure of like 10%, oh, there's only 10% come in. You know, you're talking about the original ones that are coming in. Then there's another fucking 30% family, you know. You're not looking at how many kids are in the family. How long them kids are going to be 20, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and they'll be knocking out kids themselves, you know. Nobody's paying any attention to anything that matters, you know. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, there's something not right. There's not something not right with the right, you know what I mean? Nobody's taking it serious enough. Everybody's talking on podcasts in America because it's the only place you can get away with half the time. And they're all saying the exact same thing. You know, they're all doing the figures and the sums. They're seeing who's coming in the parliament. They can see who's going through the universities to pass in the bar. Your next politicians, your next lawyers, your next prosecutions, your next prime ministers. That's where they all come from. They all go through the bar. They all go through Oxford, you know. And nobody's paying any attention how what the nationalities these people are that are passing the bar because this is your future. You know? So yeah. It doesn't make any sense. I don't even know who that is. Sit where they pray in the street. You know, superstars, right? Used to behave. I just think it's frustrating that there's so much evidence out there that England is in so much problems and that your children and your grandchildren will be living under a different law, different rules, and different people in charge of Parliament. You know, you see the King, you know, I'm sick of going on YouTube and seeing videos about the King being Islamic or that not being my king. Everybody around the world is talking about how the King has been Islamified, but yet we've still got people believing that the king is the king of Great Britain, you know. I mean, I don't care about the guys over here. They can wear blinkers and all the rest of it for all they want. They don't look at YouTube, don't look at the truth, don't listen to Freedom Dad. The king's your man, the king's your man. You know what I mean? If you're not going to do your research, it's your kids and your grandkids that are going to suffer. I can't help everybody, you know what I mean? But you know, I mean, a lot of people are awake. They nearly everybody, most people that I talk to that come up and talk to me, say the exact same thing. Not my king. Everybody can see what the king's doing. He's not the leader of the Christian faith anymore. He's let the Christian faith down. We've got churches shutting down all over the country and then in England being turned into mosques. There's no push for Christianity. There's no Sunday schools anymore. There's no push for BB. You know what I mean? They're all family, but we're there foremost pushing all these things and getting these things up and going. And that's where our communities come from. This is where we learned we learned about each other and got to know each other, and all good people came together, and obviously a couple of bad eggs in there pretending to be good, you know what I mean? But you know, it was generally a really good place. It was a good place for kids to be safe, and I know things happened back in the day, but we're a lot wiser and clever to stuff like that, you know what I mean? We're no stupid now. Them sort of things aren't going to happen to our kids, so we are able to do that, but nobody's pushing it. Our Christianity is being smothered, absolutely smothered, you know what I mean? And nobody's batting an eyelid. And at the same time, the king's running about, you know, with Muslim leaders and Muslim people and bringing Muslims in. And this is what, it's, you know, people will say, going on about Muslims and going on about Muslims. I'm a Christian. Fuck's sake, I'm a Christian. I live in a Christian country. I love church. I love the community of church. I love Sunday school. I love BB. I'd love to see our kids doing stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. King Charles has swore allegiance to Christianity. You know what I mean? He is the king. He's our king of Christianity. And he's doing zilch about it. Enough, boy. Enough. He's doing nothing about it. And like, this is how I think. This is what I think. See these people with their head thinking he's not going out there and they're all sitting there smiling, King Charles, King Charles. I know for a fact, 110%, when he turns his back and they're talking to each other, they're saying to each other, what a fool of a man. This is going to be so easy for us to do. And that's 110%. I know that because I know how human beings are, you know. I know how pathetic he looks or behaves with Carmilla, the things he said about the Tampax and the way he's behaved with Diana and how Diana all of a sudden died. You know what I mean? And we all know about the cousin marriages and where they actually all come from and who they actually belong to. And everybody's getting a lot wiser. And then once you've got all that information and you look at this, and then you look at the portrait that's done, then you go down the rabbit hole of devil worship and all the rest. There's nothing there positive for me to say, he's my king, he'll save us. If anything ever goes wrong, we'll be okay because the king's are. Well, everything's going wrong in England right now, okay? 800,000 children have been affected. That's the figure that they've given us. I guarantee it's millions and millions. When that's just grooming gangs that they're talking about. You know, the stats of Afghanistan men. I don't know if you've seen some of the reports of how many per 10,000, you know what I mean, of these men that are coming into our country that are committing horrendous crimes. Their stats are, GB News threw it out, you know what I mean? So the stats are horrific. They've got the stats, and this is just the stats that the government are giving us. This is the stats of convictions. This isn't the stats of how many women and children who never reported it, who never said a word to nobody about it, because they didn't think anybody would believe them. They were on their own. They felt that maybe they were stupid enough they get drawn into the guy or whatever, and they think that was their fault, because that's what happens with victims. The predators can make them believe it's their fault. So God knows how many victims in England that we don't know about. It has to be into the millions. And the government know. The government will have an idea. The king will know. But yet, still, he carries on, ignoring what's happening to his own people. But it's not just about Christianity, guys. The problem that you've got in England, because everybody talks about civil war. Where's your civil war? Where's your men for civil war? Let's be honest. So you've got people in painkillers, you've got addicts, you've got alcoholics, you've got men who have families and responsibilities and money in the bank that they can't afford to lose, okay? And then you got a lot of weak men. You got a lot of gay men, okay? You've got a lot of men that don't leave the house and are online and just computers. So when the shit hits the fan in England, who's coming out to fight? Now, I know there's thousands and thousands of really hard, strong fighting men, but you'll all be gone in the first day. They'll just lift you all, you know what I mean? And then all your weakest will be left vulnerable. And there's no win-win situation here with civil war like these. I hear people, because it doesn't mind nothing. I come from Northern Ireland. We've been at civil war sort of things and fighting with the police and going ahead over flags and not being able to march up roads and the fucking Irish Sea border and even the stuff that's been going on in England. You know what I mean? We have battled with these guys for years and years and years, and we never gain an inch. So we've been doing this since the 60s and the 70s, you know, but like really good at it. You know, we go in and we're taking shields and passing them back to the guys behind us. You know what I mean? We're going in and taking stuff off them, so we then have as much stuff as them. That's, you know, we do things differently, a lot differently. We have tactics, we have plans, there's different things that will happen. People come from different directions at different times. We are the best at this kind of thing, and we still never gain an inch, you know? And you've got to understand that, right? It's a different time when we were on the streets ranting compared to your days today. You know, there's no fight. There is no fight. But, you know, you need to be aware If you can't fight and save your country, you need to start thinking about moving your children to somewhere else, because the government have been compromised. Your king has been compromised. The children being raped in your country has been going on for many years, and still nothing's being done. Still today, there's hundreds of men coming in on boats. Every day, some days up to 1,000 men. How many children are going to be raped in your country before you realise that nobody gives a fuck about you? And your government have give up, and your king has give up. You know, and some of you who believe in reform, yous are up fucking years are in for the shock of your life. I'm more worried about reform than I am a Labour, because I know who reform truly are. I'm more worried about getting done on my videos and stuff taken off online when reform get in, because I know exactly who reform is. Reform is the new Labour. I keep telling you this, when it comes down to Ben Habib's party, or Rupert Lowe's party, or Tommy Robinson's party, or them all together, if it comes down to that, and you've got reform with 10% of your people who are still unawake and will still vote for reform, who else do you think is going to vote for reform to stop the right-wing party getting in? Every far left and every Muslim in England will be voting for reform, and reform are getting set up and are ready for that. And yous have all been hoodwinked, yous have all been conned. You know, the whole thing, the whole startup to get everybody in was to get your money. The money was enough to get them going. The money was enough to invest, to make more money, and then anybody who wanted to leave, they can throw your money back because they've already made money with your money. The whole thing was a big, massive con to start a machine, started from establishment, because the New Labour were finished. The New Labour were finished long before Freedom Dad. Go back to my videos 8 months ago and I told you Labour will never be in power in this country ever again. 8 months ago I said that. So if I knew that 8 months ago, the establishment knew that a long time ago. You know, well, they would have knew it as soon as they got in the power, and the way the people turned against them. So Labour have now lost the Muslim vote. They've now lost the English vote. Okay, the Muslims will go independent now, because they did rely on them. Angela Rayner got in because of them. That's who got Angela Rayner in. That's who got most of your front bench in. If you really look and see where their consistencies are, and see what the population is, then you'll understand what's going on with Labour. It's all pretty simple to work out. Sorry I'm not reading your comments, guys. There's just big comments, and I know it can be a bit, you know, I know I'm probably going to get bad feedback from this, and people are going to say, like, fucking, you know, you've give up or whatever. I haven't give up. What I'm saying to you is I don't see any solution. You know, I really don't see any solution. You straight, like Rupert Lowe started something that isn't a party. A party needs to be started immediately. As soon as you start that party, something's going to happen. There's going to be a general election before the next 3 years are up, because the establishment don't want you getting established. I'm telling you now, as soon as the right start, as soon as you start start moving, start gathering pace, start getting thingies and getting excited, there'll be a quick general election, and you won't be ready, and reform will take it. Reform will take it. And then yous are going to understand exactly what's going to happen to your country then. Nigel Farage isn't joking about when he says you can't deport 1 million. He's no joking about when he says you need to take Islam with it. You know, you need to bring Islam along. You know, he's told you exactly what the crack is. You know what I mean? And we know exactly what the crack is, because we're listening to the scholars, and we're listening to the big influencers. We're listening to the people who the Muslim people support. Okay, so when they've got millions of followers, and they're saying they're going to take over England, one day England will be a Muslim country, you've got to listen to that. Because none of these followers, millions of followers, are going, well, that's out of order, don't be stupid. No, why would we do that? They've been really good to us. We like the English. English are lovely. We love Christmas, you know what I mean? Fuck, it's all there for you to see, you know what I mean? And the icing on the cake for me was Dan O'Bain's video. So go and watch Dan O'Bain's video. And I don't do this because there's anything between me and Dan O'Bain. That's honest to God. He shouted me out. You know, I mean, I wasn't happy with the shout out, because I was actually one of our followers, I'm not going to say her name, was fucking having a bad time. Okay, I'm not going to say her name so nobody will know. But she was talking about suicide, and I told her to come and see me. I told her I'd meet her for a coffee. I met her for a coffee, and he sort of took a piss out of that a wee bit. You know what I mean? You know, thinking, you know, I don't know what he's thinking, but that's not who I am, you know. So met for a coffee, had a chat, just sat in the car at a garage, had a good chat, and thankfully she's all good. You know what I mean? And it was just needing to talk. It was just needing to get it out. But anyway, that's fucking Dino being. I fucking should have pulled him up about it, but it is what it is. But so there's nothing between me and Dino being. It just happens to bring out stuff that's really relevant and stuff that's really important. You know what I mean? And you know, without a doubt, he's up there in with one of the top YouTubers. Without a doubt, guys. You know, and the more people follow him, the quicker he's going to get taken down. To be honest with you, like because he is that good. You know, and he's not getting paid by the government. He's not working for the government, and it's very easy to see. You know, once you watch YouTubers, you sort of get an idea who doesn't say what and who says what. You know what I mean? And because when YouTubers are around for a long time, you get the thread of how they talk, what they're about. You know what I mean? And how far they go. You know, and um, Paz, take my hat off to him. You know, he's one of the ones. Everything I'm thinking, he's doing fucking videos about it, and that's just the way we all are. You know what I mean? I'm just not in a position to be throwing up headlines. Not my king, or the king is Islam. You know, I'm not in a position to do that because it would probably cause me problems. You know what I mean? But I am going to speak my mind. I'm going to be honest. Now I'm going to give people my opinion if they want it. You know? Yeah, the outlaw. Yeah, yeah. Short and sweet. You know what I mean? And he's always hitting the nail. And yeah, but Daniel Bean is bringing you stuff that you need to see. That's all I can say. You know what I mean? It's like stuff that you need to see. You know what I mean? And there's no nitty gritty there. It's factual. There's no misinformation, and sometimes it can be horrifying. You know, and this is the problem. You know, because when I watch some of these videos, I think to myself, I wish, because I know guys that don't get me. It's not that they don't get me; they're my mates, but they just don't get, you know, the king bit, the union bit. You know, England being ever not being England. You know, and sometimes when I watch videos, I think to myself, oh, you know, I wish he would just watch this. I wish he could see what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why I do my video. And I don't know what the answer it is. I really don't know what the answer is. I don't think anybody's doing enough. Everybody's just talking and talking and talking, and everybody's telling everybody else what the problem is, and it's doing my nothing. It's doing my absolute nothing. So it is. And like I say, you know, I would rather people started talking about the facts. I would rather people in England and people that care about England just say, listen, things are going wrong. You know, we can see whenever we're not here, maybe 30, 40 years down the line, there's going to be big changes in England that nobody ever thought would ever happen. You know, the St. George's Cross will be gone because that'll be seen as a racist flag, you know what I mean? And lots of changes. Stop that. That's your granddad. Um, yeah. Yeah, but you know, this is what I always try and get across as well. This is really, really important. You know, violence won't work. You know, this is what they want. When the shit hits the fan, right? Think about this, right? When the shit hits the fan and everybody realizes what's going on, everybody's aware that you've been fucked over. Everybody is aware that your government has been compromised and somebody else is in charge of your government and your king is gone. Your king is gone to Islam or something mental's happened with the king and the royal family, right? Once that penny drops, what's the first reaction? Is everybody be angry and blah, blah, blah. So they know that yous already know. So there's no limit to what they'll do. Once they know the cat's out of the bag, at the minute, the cat's in the bag, so they're pretending everything's okay and we'll stop the boats and we're sending billions here and we're sending billions there. And just as an antidote here, 50 billion they sent to Syria. You know how many people they're killing over there right now? Put in Syria. Just put in Syria right now, guys. Absolutely shocking what's going on. And our government sent them £50 million. Sent their government £50 million. A man who was on the most wanted list in America, our government supported to put in there, and they're now slaughtering people in their thousands. The scenes that I have seen is horrific. They went into a hospital. A hospital. You want to see the scenes in this hospital, you know. And these weren't like, it wasn't like a hospital where people they were fighting and then they were going into the hospital to fix, you know. These were people that were in hospital, old people, young people, people with just genuine problems that were in hospital, you know. It's fucking out there, you know what I mean? So that's our government. That's who our government is. You know, that's just another party. You know, so our government is compromised. Whoever's in charge of our government told them to give 50 million of our money to this guy. You know what I mean? Because whoever's in charge of our government is in charge of a few places, and they probably just took a 50 million here, 100 million there. Right, there's fucking half a billion for you. You know what I mean? And this is what. Where does that make any sense? They go on about me being a bank robber. They go on about me being a lawless prisoner. But yet there's a guy who's committed the most horrendous crimes around the world as a terrorist that they give 50 million to. You know what I mean? That's fact. You know, that's again just, you know, nobody batted an eyelid about that. You know what I mean? But so getting back to the point, guys. So violence is not going to work because that's what they would want. Because then they can come right at you. They can just grab you. They can put you in a jail in Europe. You know, they can put you. They look how friendly. Fuck knows what they've just signed with France. You know, what I mean, it's not out of the book to be able to take you out of this country and place you in our country in a jail. Okay, any big ringleaders, Tommy Robinson, anybody, me, any big YouTubers, Paz, you know, anybody that's around that big names, anybody, boom, because it would scare the life out of everybody else. You know what I mean? It would scare the life out of everybody else, and you would all be tamed. That would be it. That would be it over. And then it's, you know, then you're going to get your 15-minute cities. You're going to get your digital ID. You're not going to be able to move like 5 miles out of your area if you don't have a certain social credit score. You know what I mean? If you're not keeping up in your bills, or if you've committed some crime, or you get into a fight or a bit of domestic abuse or whatever, if he's arguing with your missus or something like that, and somebody phones the police, or, you know, then your social credit goes down for both of you because you're making a ruckus. You know what I mean? That's where you will go, and that'll just be the control you to the fact where you have no opinion, no freedoms, and you know social media will be a lot different. You'll only get social media will be like TV. This is the future, right? Social media will be exactly like TV. Your TV will be there, just like you always have, but everything will be through social media, and the social media will be controlled by mainstream. You know. And you know, one of the things that I do believe is that they let quite a lot of, you know, everybody thinks it's freedom of speech, but it's all research. They want to know who's saying what the people think, how long can they get away with it, you know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why I do this, because I never know how long I'm going to get to do it. And I always hope some people will screen record and keep stuff, you know what I mean? And like I've got some stuff from memory sticks and that as well. So always got, you know, it'll never disappear, you know what I mean? Mostly stuff that from my daughter. Don't screen, don't do everything. Don't copy everything. It's too many, 700 videos. Window Man will put again. Mate, what did Window Man say? Sorry, Window Man. I believe unionism was in danger long before Brexit. Before this invasion and your treacherous king, I'd rather see the loyalists take action than let this slide. I'm here in Ireland and feel the same. Yeah, I know, and it's everybody. This is the madness of it, and I don't think people understand it's outside what I would call our bubble. You know, people who are awake, they don't understand. It's like it confuses them when they see Southerners talking to ex-loyalists and not caring because they just see a human being. They understand I was brought up in Kerr and all the rest of it, and then they know just life is life. Wherever you're brought up, you're gonna mold into whatever society presents itself to you. And the fact that Catholics and Protestants are talking, and we all seem to be on the same page as well. It's not like we're just starting to talk and talk about the troubles or talking about religion. Like nothing. We're straight into going. We're fucked. You're fucked. We're fucked. What do we do about it? You know, that's what people on the outside of the bubble don't realize. We are in serious fucking trouble. You know, and Northern Ireland is okay right now, but you know, the whole point is to try and get an understanding of what can we do, even if we do save ourselves and bring our birth rates up, pay our mothers for having children, or our fathers for whoever's looking after the children, pay them handsomely, pay our cleaners more money, pay our carers more money, so we don't need to bring anybody in to do the jobs we don't want, and just push for like 20 years to have a blossoming community of young men and women who we have brought up the right way, you know, teaching them the right things in school, you know what I mean? Taking away the medication and maybe trying to give them, dealing with other stuff, other things that's out there, you know what I mean? It's a possibility that Northern Ireland could do that, but the powers that be are here. You know, the people who are doing this to England and doing it to Ireland are also here. You know what I mean? They control, they control, uh, they control us. You know what I mean? But it's down to the individual men of Ulster and the individual men of Ireland that put the right people in power, because only the right people will stop it. And it's got to be people that can't be bought. You can't have millionaires, guys. You can't have people with lots of money taking over charge, because they will be compromised. You know, you need men who are working class, who don't have nothing and came from nothing and are good at talking and don't have a criminal record. You know what I mean? Somebody that everybody could look up to. You know what I mean? Cheers, Noel. Hamas are getting Eurofighter jets from NATO. I don't believe that, mate. I, I think that's a joke. You know what I mean? I really, you know what I mean? They can just about fly them glider things, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know, Graham, and I know it sounds brilliant. You know, Football Alliance and somebody calling them all out and everybody coming out. But this, I'm just going to tell you straight what's going to happen. These are going to come out. They'll block whatever area you're in. You won't budge an inch. You can throw as many petrol bombs and stones and all the rest of it, and they'll just keep replacing them in, and you won't budge an inch, and you'll destroy your area. You'll burn it. You'll grab all your bricks and bottles and bins, burn all your bins and everything, and it might go on for 24 hours or 48 hours, but eventually it'll die down, and you'll all go home, and then one by one you'll all be picked up, you know. And that's where your Football Lads Alliance will be, you know, and they'll find places for them. You know what I mean? When it comes to civil unrest like that, and you've got hundreds of thousands of men out, you know, they just need to cattle you. They just need to stand firm. This is what I'm trying to say to you. You know, you've seen the videos of them practicing. You've seen the videos of them training. You know, quite a lot of YouTubers have brought them videos. You know, guys with Union Jacks throwing bricks at the police in a scenario in an area that's been just built up to make it look like a wee town or a city. We've seen the drone footage of them doing it. You know, it's they're training to fight us. They're training to fight yous right this minute. That's what they're doing. And, you know, they're not doing it for no reason, because they know that you're saying, if it came to it, the Football Alliance boys will get called out by Tommy and everybody will be out in the streets. So they know. They're ready for it. How many thousands do you think we can get on the streets when we need to? You know, how many nights rioting do you think we've had in this country? You know, you have no idea. You have no idea what we've done and what the fights that we've had with the police. And, you know, we don't gain an inch, guys. Everybody knows that. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying we're better than you. All I'm saying is that we've had more experience. You know, the police have learnt a lot from Northern Ireland. You know what I mean? So what solutions, right? So everybody, I know you are all sitting there going like, yep, this is fucking doom and gloom. You know what I mean? You know, all my ideas are getting pushed right out here by Freedom Dad. You know what I mean? And I'm just being fucking frank with these guys. You know what I mean? What's the only solution I can see, and this is fucking far right there, but maybe not as far right there as you may think, is that he's get invaded. That fucking America comes over and takes over. That's the only way I can see what needs to be done getting done, you know. There's no leader in the future that's going to do what needs to be done to your country to save your children and your women, and not just that, to save any more women and children being abused. Okay, 110%. There's like, that's just going to keep on happening. You've got thousands and thousands coming in every week from every direction. Airports, boats just coming here. Don't want to go back. Okay, there you go. Student visas, work visas. Some of the kebab shops have given out 1,000 work visas. Okay, some kebab shops have brought in 1,000 men. You know, around about that figure. God knows how many kebab shops is there. You know, it's a government scheme. You know, I mean, it was one of them government schemes that, you know, if they needed workers because we didn't want to work in kebab shops apparently. So what they said is, oh, if you need workers, you can bring some over, and they took advantage of that. So there's so many things and so many people in the country, and there's so many people in the country legally because they're in work visas and education visas, and eventually it's all going to come to a bump, and that's one of the reasons why you're not getting any figures of how many foreigners are in your country. You know, I don't eat kebabs. Don't eat kebabs, guys. And I'm just not into them. You know what I mean? And it is something that you can do. You know what I mean? I'll get my hair cut soon, but you know, I'd rather give my cash to a local boy. You know what I mean? Because I know the local boy that I go to isn't fucking, whether he's fucking doing the tax man or not, I don't care. But I know he's not laundering money. You know what I mean? So that's why I am with that, you know. But that's just me personally. That's just because I know quite a lot of these places launder money for other things. You know what I mean? And I know they get student visas as well. They bring people into the country. You know what I mean? Um, and the thing about the Afghani men coming over as well because the government fucked up, that's going to cost us billions. I think it's about 800 billion. You know what I mean? That in the long run. They're talking some of these people who would be bringing 30, 40, 50 people with them, family members, you know. It's fucking it's into the millions, guys. When you hear that figure of Afghani men that's having to come over here now, it's in the millions. They just won't tell you that, you know. But they're not just bringing one single Afghani man over. They're bringing this whole family over because that's what they've got to do. And then when they come here, they're going to get sued because of the leak. So I don't know how many billions, right? I don't think somebody more intelligent would need to sit down and work out, because do the family get compensation as well? Or just the men that were grassing on their own men, you know? Are they the only ones that get compensation because of the leak, along with a house and everything and a car and whatever else they need? You know what I mean? Or do their family get compensation because they've had to move their family as well? See, you know, where's the money coming from? Who are they taking the money off, guys? This is your government, and you know nobody seems to be batting an eyelid. All the right-wing patriots that I listen to don't seem to care or talk about it or want to even go down any rabbit holes. They just want to come up with different ideas of getting people together for I don't know what, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Every single patriot needs to be talking about what's really going on in England, who's doing it, why it's happening, and how long it's going to be before nobody can do anything about it. So everybody's got a time scale. So then at least people can start evacuating, getting people out. You know what I mean? Simple as that, you know. Northern Ireland, you can try Scotland for a while. I don't know how long that'll last, but there's America, there's Poland, and there's Russia, And I know you think I'm fucking mental. Well, maybe message. But yeah, I know you think I'm being mental, right? But go to just go to all these cities that's no longer English. Okay, just go to them. Go to Luton and Rochdale, Rotherham, Oldham, all the rest of them. Wrexham, Halifax. Go to London. Go to your capital city of your country, and then just think to yourself: is it just going to be like this forever? Will it just be London? Will it just be Rotherham? Will it just be Rochdale? Will it just stay exactly the same forever and ever? Or is it going to get bigger, wider, and more populated, you know, by people who are wanting to come over and turn your country back into the Stone Age because they just want to punish you for some reason? Leicester, sorry, mate. Yeah, there's loads. There's loads and loads. It's bad. It's bad, and what I mean. It's like it would be like, for me, it would be like, let me see, trying to get a comparison. Ballymena, I suppose, wouldn't be far off Leicester or Bradford, So it would be like me, like Portrush even, because that's somewhere we like to go, and then going to Portrush one day and finding there's no dogs anywhere. And people growl at you when you walk a dog through out there, and all the shops are foreign names, and people that are walking about the street covered in hijabs and burqas and, you know, and just because I'm white and, you know, because you get the feeling. Go, just go. What's the videos of people that go? Try going with a video. What's another one? You know, try going with a video. So yeah, I'm just a wee bit pissed off. Just what's Dino being, like I say. Let me turn this light on. Yeah, just watch Dino being, guys. Go and watch it. Go and watch it. You gotta watch it. I think it was one of the last ones he done. Let me go and find my phone. Wait, come here, you. Sit there. Wait, you stay. Wait, you're on camera. Right. Okay. What's that, James? Is that Dino Beans? Link? I could have put it in the TV. Right, so... Let me just find stuff in. Okay, I'll be on my WhatsApp. Two seconds, guys. I can't find it now. Sorry. Yeah, so Dino Bean, sorry, I was fucking up looking for something else there. History. How far does it go? How far does it go 14 hours ago? So most of you that must have seen that. You must have seen that. I just fucking woke up and seen it. I thought he'd just put it up. Billy, who's doing this and why? Hospitals are full of and dogging now. Sorry for not reading your comments, guys. I'm just fucking going into one tonight. Yeah, loads of protests. Yeah, loads of protests, guys. James, what is that you're putting up? Yeah, this is what I mean. So we're like, so we know the score. You know what I mean? It's like I say in Northern Ireland, they will be peaceful protests. Turn violent, we lose, yeah. Dino Babe. Yeah, I seen it, mate. Yeah, I know you were I knew you were close to him, like, but wow, you know what I mean? I'm getting a bit jealous now, like. Oh. Dino Babe. Oh man, need to leave my wee comment. So well. I know quick enough, I know, mate. I know, no quick enough. We were right on that, so we were. Yeah, you're gonna get a bit of stick for that now, mate. He never slips up, our James. You know? But yeah, so I don't know, you know what I mean? If people say Tony Blair, you know, Talga, hey babe. Yeah, people say Tony Blair, you know, Fabian Society, stuff like that. I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you. I don't really look into it too much. I don't really care. All I know is that what I see is getting irreversible, you know, and I don't feel enough people are aware of it. And I've done videos about this. I've done this before. I've done this, like reaching out to other patriots and saying, like, you know, do you just not want to know? Is it because there's nothing you can do and you don't have the answers for anybody? You just want to pretend everything's all right? You know, I have said that. You know what I mean? Connor Skyline, well, freedom, Dad. Did you ask me a question, mate? But, you know, a tool of a much bigger system. Yeah, 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 yeah. Fair enough. Feel powerless. Yes, Jerome. All you need to know is the small hats bring in the migrants in the country. Islam is a sword. Judaism attack Christianity. Who wins in the end? Um, Islam. Islam wins in the end. You know what I mean? What that will look like, it's going to be strange. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. Let's talk about let's talk like we would normally talk if we were face to face. Um, so so if Islam ends up dominating the whole England and the mainland, say in 50, 60, 70 years time, what will that look like? Well, that is a strange one because, you know, there the type of people that they're bringing in to populise the country. Some like, most of them will be good, but there's a lot of bad people coming in. You know what I mean? A lot of people coming from a lot of places where they've been using weapons for a long time, and they follow the Quran to the letter. So there is going to be a problem for Islam when they do, because, you know, I know Saudi Arabia and like Qatar own most of London, right? They own all the tower rises, the Gherkin, and everything. All the big buildings you see in London belong to, mostly belong to Saudi Arabia and Qatar. So I know Saudi Arabia do fund a lot of the mosques in Ireland and England. When they build the big super mosques, I know quite a lot of funding comes from Saudi Arabia. We know that, that's fact. That's never been hidden. We know there's a lot of money put into a lot of things that do with Islam. Um, they get a lot of funding from Saudi Arabia. But at the same time, Saudi Arabia isn't as extreme. It's not like Wahhabi, you know what I mean? But then again, it could just all be a big game to them. This could be a bigger plan, you know what I mean? I don't know. I really don't know. You know, all I do know is that they can come up and smile and say all sorts of things and promise you all sorts of things and make our kings and make people, leaders around the world feel really comfortable and that they're really nice people. And they're allowed to lie. Takika or something it's called, you know. So, yeah, with that knowledge, you just don't know where you're coming or going with them, you know what I mean? All right, Fred, good to see you, mate. Good. I wasn't too sure if you were going to get in. Yeah, lots of things will change. Yeah, lots of things will change. Forgive us our trespasses, deliver us from evil. Good, mate. Good. Hope everything went all right, mate. I didn't want to delve too much, you know what I mean? And you know, it's difficult time for families right now. I'm not. I'm a non-believer in religion, but I will stand with anyone against that Islam crap. Yeah. Yeah, good lady, yeah. Good one now. Now is the time. You know, and when I talk about like being evaded and all that, you know what I mean? Um, I'm genuinely, it's like, I know it's out there, but if you were to, if you were to genuinely ask me, say, Freedom Dad, monetize your channel now, you have lots of views, mate. Yeah, no, mate, I know. I've always promised I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Once, maybe if the topic starts changing and we're not talking about what we're talking about, maybe think about it, you know what I mean? Because it would fucking help. But like I say, I've always said I didn't want to do it. I've always thought about doing an art channel. And the thing is, like, I don't want to put you through adverts, guys. I don't like fucking adverts, you know what I mean? And I've got Buy Me a Coffee. So, you know, I don't give you adverts. You've got Buy Me a Coffee. You can buy me a coffee, like, whenever you want. just, you know, whether if adverts mean that much to you, they mean not much to me. I do not like adverts, you know what I mean? I suppose 5 seconds and all that's all right. Got no problem with that, like, but I don't tolerate much more than 20 seconds. Unless it's somebody really, really good, you know what I mean? They've got to be really good, you know what I mean? I still owe you that Chinese, mate. You don't owe me anything, bro. You really, nobody owes me anything at all. Like, freedom, dad, go for it. We are all behind you. Yeah, cheers. So basically, what I'm saying, guys, is about being invaded, and what I'm trying to say to you is if somebody was to ask me, like Sparky, what is the solution? Right, if they can't deport these people, and these people are going to have more and more children, and and then guys are having less and less children, then obviously they're going to be replaced. It's obvious, right? It's eventually there's going to be more of them of the English, and obviously that will go into power. It goes into the hospitals. It goes into everything. So everywhere you be, it'll be mostly foreigners that will be running everything, and you will be a minority. And you know that might not end too well for a lot of people. You know what I mean? A lot of advantage can be taken, and we've seen the advantage that they've taken already with the children, with the taxi driving and the kebab shops and the way they operated. So it's a wee bit scary when you look at that in an even bigger scale and touching a lot more parts of England, and you know some areas just it's quite a scary thought. So this is how people would talk, who are intelligent around me. This is how we talk, because we can see the figures. We know how many's coming in. We know it's not going to stop anytime soon. Think about it. Stop the boats. For fuck's sake, man. The BBC went over with a camera crew, and all they done was they stopped the boat. They stopped the boat. That's stopping the boats. You know what I mean? But yet we're sending billions over. You've researched how much money we've sent to France to try and stop these boats. You know, it's fucking. Come on, guys. 10 of us, 10 of us could do it, right? 10 of us operating over here, 10 over there, all communicated up. You know what I mean? We could stop the boats. Okay, please believe me. And then you've got the Iron Dome in Israel, right? The Iron Dome, like, I don't know what the Iron Dome is, right? I've watched it. I don't know if any of you've seen it, right? But there's something more to the Iron Dome than meets the eye, right? So I've seen all these rockets coming over, and it's almost like there's a shield. It's like the rocket hits the shield. You know what I mean? It's not like there's a big bang, like another rocket hitting another rocket. It's almost like it just goes into something and just disappears. It's very strange. But anyway, they've got the dome in Israel. So how can't they have a dome around the coast of France? Just letting them know every time a boat's out. You know what I mean? And then before they even get out to deep water, you can be out there with a speedboat, man. Hook right into the side of it. By the time it deflates, you'll have it in anyway. You're a speedboat. You know what I mean? You could have another couple of boats floating about, because we've given you billions, so you've got enough for another couple of wee boats to pick up any stragglers and get them back on the shore. Once you've done that for a couple of months, they would stop trying that way. Fucking simple. You know what I mean? Once they know that there's no point even trying it, because you're just getting trailed back to the shore, they won't do it anymore. So there is obviously that's it's because we know it's easy to stop. Okay. And we know that they're giving them life jackets, they're escorting them, and then the Royal Navy and the RNLI are escorting them back, and we know exactly what's going on from there. They're getting hotels, and then they're getting private houses or council houses. So we know the crime of breaking into this country is gone. It's not illegal anymore. There's no problems. You're not going to get done for it. We know that. You're going to get rewarded for it. So we know that. We know it's still going on. We know nobody's going to stop it. We know GB News and Christie's over there giving it all that, but we know that's going to go nowhere. He's just telling us what we know. Like I say, the government are good at putting people in front of you to tell you what you know. Okay, they're really good at that. And we all sit there like, wow, look, there's thousands of them over there. Oh, look, they're all trying to get on boats. Look, the boats coming out of the rivers. Oh, look, they're saying they're coming for our social benefits. Oh, look, they're really nasty, they're Patrick Christie. Oh, isn't Patrick Christie great? But what? What else? What is that it? And he's back in GB News complaining about it and moaning about it. It's terrible. We need to stop boats. We've been doing this for 3 years. There's men been going over there for 3 years. I've watched YouTube after YouTube channel of men doing the exact same thing that Patrick Christie's done, and still nothing's been done about it. And nothing still will get done about it, even though we're all like, wow, it's on GB News, isn't Patrick Christie great? Probably Christie's being sent there by the establishment to keep us happy, to keep the people aren't awake, sitting going, oh, the government must be doing something. Look, there's GB News over there. That's it. That's it. You've got your wee news bit, just like the BBC going over and getting their wee stab in the thingy. You know, that's what the establishment are doing. They're making you feel as if something's going right and something's happening. Nothing's happening. Nothing is happening. They're just telling you what you already know, and that's the way it is. And this is what I'm trying to say. There's other people on social media doing the exact same thing, and they don't even realize it. You know what I mean? They don't even realize it. You know, you're pacifying people when you shouldn't. You should be telling the people the truth. There's problems, and there's problems coming for England. And just because you mightn't be here, you may be in your 40s and 50s and 60s, your kids and your grandchildren are in fucking big trouble, you know. So yeah, what I'm saying about being invaded like America, and I'm not fucking, we're just entertainment and educational purposes only. We're having a laugh. This is party, you know what I mean? By America, like Trump saying, no, this is not, you can't do this to the British people. That's not right. Who's fucking doing this, Pom? We're going over here, sort this out. You know what I mean? Well, like, what's our army going to do? We've got 20,000 soldiers. Fuck's sake, you know what I mean? What's Stormer going to do? You've seen him punch in the punch bag. You know what I mean? Our SAS would be just like that. Thanks, Trump. You know, our big brigadiers and all our top colonels and all that would be like, fucking about time. These cunts are mental, you know what I mean? That's what I see what would happen, you know what I mean? But that, when people ask me what is the solution, that's the only solution I can see. And, you know, I know it's unbelievable and never happen, you know, but that is the only solution, guys. You know, your government's compromised, and I mean completely and utterly. Reform 110%, just the same as Labour. You know, I'm going to tell you this once more. There's never been a political party leader ever in our time have a main slot on a news presenter, a mainstream news presenter like GB News. He's got his own slot, and he's the leader of a political party. Where does that make sense in anybody's head? You know, could you imagine Tommy Robinson having a big, massive political party, just like Reform, and getting his own slot in GB News, or any news, or even getting on TV? So come on, you know, Tommy Robinson is a genuine right-wing patriot who loves his country, his children, and does not want he doesn't want his country to be replaced. That's why Tommy Robinson gets persecuted. That's why Tommy Robinson doesn't get on TV. That's why Tommy Robinson would never get a mainstream slot in mainstream media. Vice versa with Farage. You totally understand it. It's, you know, there's nobody in charge of these news broadcasters. Whether you think GB News is fucking for us or not, nobody. They're GB News are there because the establishment have let them be there. GB News will only put out what the establishment want them to put out. And the establishment know that we need somebody. We need a news outlet. They know we've lost BBC. They know they've lost Sky. They know they've lost Channel 4. They know we've caught on to the bullshit from mainstream media. So they made GB News to convince us all, oh, we've got this there for us. GB News is controlled by the establishment. The only reason GB News is there is because the establishment want them there. The only reason Farage is in GB News is because the establishment want Farage in there. It's as simple as that. And I know it sounds mental, and a lot of people think I'm just talking shit, but that's the problem. You know, that's the problem with people being asleep. It's too far out there for them to believe. It's too far out there for them to understand. You know, they trust in their government too much. How would their government let this happen? Why would the government in Northern Ireland not be shouting about this like me? You know, you understand, but why is our politicians not up in arms about the replacement of England? You know, we're British. We fly. We've got 100. I've got 100 Union Jacks out there. I could walk just for 5 minutes and count 100 Union Jacks, and I'm not exaggerating. But yet, I'm the only one talking facts and telling the truth about what's happening in England and the English people that are there, and a lot of people that are awake, like you guys, who just can't believe that nobody else is talking about it. You know. Oh, sorry, I missed that. He asked a brilliant question. I'll not say what, James, because it's a whole different topic, but excellent question, man. Who was that? Let me ask it again, please. Oh, Super Patcher was timed out. Why, James? Oh, I would have liked to say hello at least. You know what I mean? I'd like to say hello to him. Because he'd be gutted and I never got to read it. And no, I'm being serious. Like, you know, people like that, we don't know who he is, right? He could be just a complete nut job, right? And this is his outlet. This is his like anger outlet, you know? And he comes on here and he feels like he's being really nasty and he's hurting my feelings. So it makes him feel good. So now you've taken that away from him. He could be now beating the life out of his wife, for all we know, or kicking his dog up and down the street. You know, I'm being thingy, but I'm being genuine. People who hate like that and go out of their way to listen and watch somebody like me just to be hateful, you know, are hateful people. And this is an outlet. This is how they do it. And I'm quite happy having people have that kind of outlet. You know what I mean? He's stealing my outlet. But no, I'm being fucking serious, like, you know what I mean? It's no big deal, I can handle it. But no, James, unless I let two go, I know I'm missing them. I'm missing them. You know, I'm gonna say in the future, Super Patcher, don't put a comment up until I tell you to. Okay? That way I'll get to see it and then, you know, you can do what you want after that. Free speech and all that, you know what I mean? As long as it's not absolutely ridiculous or offending anybody in the chat. Yeah, they are the Fermanagh thing, you know. What can I say about it? It's a boy, a girl, a mother, and the father's fighting for his life. So you can work it out, guys. You know. Nobody else involved in the shooting. Yeah. R.I.P. Yeah. Yeah, lady. Yeah. Very sad. Right, Window Man, thanks. I'm sorry if I missed some of your comments, bro. You need, Window Man, you need to go on to X and message me or go to Facebook, freedom.fd, so I can get you my phone number, right? Freedom.fd, go on there, bro, and send me a message through Messenger. And can leave a comment under something and let me know it's you. Yes, Ozzy died, yes. Peelers are looking for a suspect. Lee Talbot, yeah, mate. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's like we'll be turning on our graves. You know, it's not our parents. You know, in England maybe our parents will be fucking, our loved ones will be saying, "Fucking stop this." You know, do what you need to do. You know what I mean? But yeah, it'll probably be us turning on our graves. You know what I mean? But it just everything seems to be going. It's all one thing, you know. Like I was talking about the meds and that, and how many people have got boxes and boxes of stuff that they take so many a day, and you know what I mean. It's constant, and every family's got somebody that's got a box of meds, and you know even our young ones now are getting tablet after tablet for this, that, and the other. You know what I mean. And like I say, I'm not a doctor. Do not take any advice I give. It's just my opinion of what I see around my communities, and it's almost like our kids, there's something happening to our kids, you know what I mean? That there's no fight, there's no hingy, you know what I mean? And it's either one extreme where they're really wild and then we have to give them something to calm them down, you know what I mean? And this is fucking quite common, you know what I mean? But something's going on, whether it's the food, the E numbers, the colorings, I don't know, you know. The internet, yep, the internet's a big problem, you know what I mean? The internet is a big problem. And I'd like to think, you know, in my country, maybe one day the right politicians would put a ban on the internet for kids until they're maybe 16 or 17 and only having an internet for like education, you know what I mean? And I know you might think, no, it's impossible. It isn't impossible if it comes from the government. The government can do it, you know what I mean? The government would be able to do it. You could have two different Wi-Fis, you know what I mean? One Wi-Fi for adults and another Wi-Fi for kids. It's not impossible, you know. You would just need to spend a bit of money on decent servers. Yeah, Talgar, yeah, it's everything. It seems to be all, has our communities have been hit with this epidemic of painkillers. At the same time, we're getting an influx of seconds. Two seconds. Can you phone Neil? Tell him I'm on a live. Thanks. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Just make sure everything's all right. You know what I mean? Don't some calls I need to answer. You know what I mean? So he's getting the phone now. My two dogs came running. I'm sorry, guys. They're mental. Hey, boy, come here. Boy. Here, son. Come here, boy. Boy, come here. Come here, boy. It's okay. Come here. You're okay. I'll be good. Come on. I'll be good. Leave him alone, Tulip. Leave him alone, you. Go and get your teddy. Yeah, I'll maybe have a wee look at that in a wee bit. Come here, boy. Night, James and Brian. It's my boy, Freddie. Why not come down? Alan, yeah. You got my number? Yeah, see, I'm not one to jump about hotels. You know what I mean? I'm not one. I support the guys that want my local one. And like Richard says, I think it's. Yeah, I don't want to. I've got to be very careful because of who I am. A lot of people can say some things, and get away with, but there's some things I can't say. But I will support the guys who are standing outside the hotel. I'm not going to tell other people around other areas to get outside hotels, you know what I mean? But that is what's happening. That is the general consensus. Everywhere is apping is what's going about right now. So it's a new sort of a new what they call a thread. You know what I mean? So I've seen it all over the place. Everywhere is apping. So what's happening now is people are coming out and standing out outside hotels all over the country, as far as I'm aware. And so like what I do, I support the guys in Bangor because they've been doing it for 3 years. 3 years. You know what I mean? And I've went down there, I've live streamed, try to get more support for them and stuff like that. So yeah, I think times are changing. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more people out on the streets in Northern Ireland. I know there was stuff happening at night. There's Chimney Corner tomorrow night, which I'll be there reporting from. They'll let you know what's going on. Put a picture of your dog up and I'll carve it for you. I've done other YouTubers' dogs. Oh, thank you. You don't have to. You know what I mean? You don't have to. I don't have the money to pay for it, buddy. You know what I mean? But I know you're probably just being kind, but you don't have to do that, you know? She's a wee bitch. He's a good lad, like, you know what I mean? But he wouldn't want card with his teeth and all out here and everything. But I could put a young one up of him. But no, I really appreciate that, mate. Really, really appreciate it. I think it's really, really nice. Yeah. It's for free. I know, mate. I know. I don't want to say no because I don't want to be offensive, but you really don't have to. A Bangor boat's away en route to Cali. Hat wear always wears a hat, Matt. Yeah, I've worn a hat all my life. Everybody knows me, apart from in the jail. I've worn a hat since I've been a wee boy. That's what it is. It is what it is, and it Tulip. It is what it is. Yeah, I've took a couple of Nurofen. Yeah, so it's a wee bit better, like, but it's like the same last night. You know, when I took the cocodamol, I was able to do the live. Let me get some light on. Yeah, I was able to do the live, and yeah, I woke up this morning in agony, absolute agony. Like, yeah. So what's happened is the tooth is out, like it's just snapped, bottom one, but the bottom of the tooth is there. You know what I mean? And I've got, you want to see the stuff I've got clove oil now. I've got the gel I was taking last night, and something else, the Nurofen. This is an interesting fact. Here's one for you. Do you know, right, that there's not one single chapel anywhere converted to a mosque? There you go. That's the power of the Roman Catholic Church. And that's how weak our Protestant church is. And this isn't about religion, guys. You know what I mean? Fucking fair play to you guys. You know what I mean? Don't know if it's to do with the Vatican and the Pope or what the fuck's going on, but hey, there's no chapels being converted. And if I'm wrong, somebody can thingy me. You know what I mean? Maybe my information is wrong. I haven't Googled it, haven't grokked it, but I get some people give me that know things that we just wouldn't say something off a beat. It's facts. You know what I mean? And I rely on that. I rely on some people, so I do like that. No problem, Dale G. Thanks. I'm sorry if I've missed some comments tonight, guys. I can't read every single comment, but your lot are saying up a lot of lads and olds. Whoa, what's it? James, yeah, but our lot are selling up a lot of lads and old disused converts and whatnot. All right, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, nail on. They want to create an uprising for civil arrest, yeah. What's happening with Alan? Somebody tell me what's happening with Alan, please. We're all from South Belfast, Lady J. Fuck's sake, you know what I mean? But you don't need to give out locations, by the way. South Belfast will do, because it could be anywhere. They're fucking Donegal Road, Sandy Road, fair play to you. You know what I mean? You will know each other. You will know each other. I guarantee you will know each other. Dundonald. Dundonald's always been posh, hasn't it? I know that, Lady J. I'm just, as long as you're okay, that's okay. Maybe the snub. Don't know. Sorry, what's this? Alan, sorry, Freedom Daddy won't come anymore. What's up, mate? I haven't seen, I don't know what's up. Listen, go to Facebook, okay? Freedom Dad FD, and add me and send me a message on Messenger. And I have help on Facebook, so, you know, if I miss it, somebody will get it, I promise you. And I'll get a private conversation with you. When I was saying what's up with Alan, I wasn't saying it in a bad way, and we're concerned, you know what I mean? What I've seen coming up here, I'm just concerned. When people start talking about St. Martin's and all that, then I'm like, you got Freedom Dad here, mate. The Catholic Church is dead in Ireland. Took at the mass grave they're digging up down 800 people. Fuck's sake, man, that's fucking brutal. Yes, Lady J, you will know him. You will. Please believe me. Yep. We all know everybody. Leslie Handy, feed him that. I just got told that a mosque has been built around the corner from me. I'm going to double check tomorrow. Afraid I was there before them. Yeah, Julie G, you're right. You're bang on. A lot of problems in society with mental health right now. A lot of people fighting it. A lot of people pretending not to suffer from it. It's everywhere. Yeah, Alan, you're in the right place. We're a good community, you know what I mean? And you're just like I always say, what I talk about, you know what I mean? Like the roller coaster of life, you know what I mean? Sometimes you're really down, you know what I mean? But you can get back up again, you know? And it's just trying. Most people with PTSD and people with mental health, it is a roller coaster. You're down, you're up, you're down, you're up. You know, it's like, I suppose it's what they call by when you're bipolar or something like that, when you get really high and really low, but it's not like that. It's just when you're in going through life and you're really down, you know what I mean? Some people can't get their heads up off the pillow and stuff like that. They don't feel there's any worth, you know what I mean? But it's just a stage that you're going through, you know what I mean? It can be fixed. Everything can be fixed. The brain can be fixed. I'm up, depending on what it is, obviously. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying, you know, I have to be careful what I say, you know what I mean? But I do believe that people can be fixed. You know, I don't understand why every other part of our body, every bone we break, every cut we have, everything mends, you know what I mean? I just don't understand why their brain wouldn't mend. Unless you've been hit or some sort of brain damage, that's something different. But mental health, is stuff that's come into your head, stuff that you believe, the way you look at life, the concepts and everything in life, that can be sorted out. You know what I mean? It can be like paranoia and anxiety and stuff like that. That can all be sorted out, you know? Yeah, like people say go to the gym and all that, but you know, I don't say stuff like that. You know, you need to talk about stuff first. You know what I mean? You need to get people ready because people don't leave the house. The last place they're going to go is the gym. You know what I mean? Um, Yeah, and that's normally where it all starts. People not leaving the house. They're on their own. They're not around people. They're not socializing. And my platform has always been about mental health as well. And this is a place where you can come and have a laugh and a chat because a lot of people do not leave the house. You know what I mean? And that's, I know that because I've been there after my wife died. And YouTube was a heaven sent, you know. And I didn't comment, I didn't interact. I just watched YouTube and enjoyed certain YouTubers and like Paz when he used to start off when he was doing his walks and all that. He used to walk around the fields, you know what I mean? And it was just good to have somebody talking about what was in my head and what I was seeing and your worries and concerns. Okay, what was that one? Yeah, walking's amazing. And I know this is gonna sound fucking mental, right? But walking in forests, you know, I just think there's something about it. You know, if you can get out into the wilderness, you know, yeah, you guys know me. I've spoke about this, no problem speaking about it. Like if you can find a root of a tree, you know, the big trees where the roots come out the bottom, and you can sit on it, you know, you're getting energy from something where I just don't know. You know what I mean? There's stuff in the ground, energy, some sort of stuff in there that can make everything sort of get into place. You know what I mean? And you don't notice it. It's nothing like that. But I do believe you get a better understanding in life when you're around nature. That's what I think. Maybe it only works for me. I don't know. Yep. Yep. Fresh air, loads of fresh air, and loads of water. Water's a big problem. You know, if you don't drink enough water, it's going to affect your brain. You know what I mean? It's going to affect your cognitive skills. You know what I mean? So always keeping yourself hydrated, guys. Well, the stuff that you get from cats, this is how the cats and the dogs work. So you understand we all wear rubber shoes, right? Why do you think we wear rubber shoes? You know what I mean? But that's just me. You know what I mean? So because there's something coming from the earth, right? There's an energy that comes from the earth. The dogs are constantly walking on the ground. Your cats are constantly walking on the ground. So they're like fully charged. So when they come in and sit in your lap, it transfers to you, you know. And you just need to Google it. Don't take my word for it. You can do your own research, you know what I mean? I know it's far out there and a lot of people think it's nuts, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot more to this world than we know. And it's been hidden from us. It's all been hidden from us. What we have, the capabilities, you know, when you have an intuition, you get that gut feeling. That's something that's normal. We were a lot better at that, you know what I mean, many years ago, but that's all been taken away because we were too powerful. So that's what I think, you know. 110 hertz. I don't really know anything about it that much, you know what I mean? But it's something you can look into. It's something you can research. Energy that comes from the ground, energy that comes out of the trees. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. Yeah, definitely. But like I say, it's too far out for some people. You need water, Fred. Right, water boot. Thanks for popping in. I will have a look. Tons of carving. Seems a lot of arseholes on here who seem far left. Yes, we do get that. It's that time of night as well. You know what I mean? Um, don't worry about it. Don't worry about far lefters. Thanks, Panic. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Yeah, so you know, you see people that walk about in their bare feet. They're no doing it for no reason, man. You know what I mean? There's you know, a lot of intelligent people out there that do things, and you know, that's fucking. You got to know who to listen to, and there's loads of YouTube channels out there and stuff like that, and you just research it. You'll get names popping up, and then you look, research the names. If you find something on Google and they're talking about energy from the earth and all the rest of it, and you sort of understand it a wee bit, then take his name down, put it in the Google, put it in the YouTube, and you'll probably find a video that he's done. You know what I mean? Um, and it's always something that you can pass on to your kids. You know, lefties are a damn breed. You know, they're a damn breed. They're struggling. They're like the fish out of water. They're, you know, trying to fucking get back in the water. You know, things are going pear-shaped for them. Considering 5 years ago, guys, 5 years ago, it was a lefty's dream. You know what I mean? We had fucking Sunak and now Labour, you know what I mean? And everything that's happening that we know what's happening, it's going to fuck up England. So yeah, and then anybody in the right, they were coming down hard on. YouTubers were getting shut down. Tommy Robinson was taken off. You know, it was just paradise for like Owen Jones and Nick Knowles and End Racism, and they were all on here. They were all giving it the big one. But what's happened now is, you know, they've lost quite a lot of people because people have realised that we were right. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of lefties coming to the right now, and they're finding their circle smaller and smaller. And now instead of when they put a post up and everybody's like, "Yay!" when they put a post up, they're getting slaughtered. So it must be difficult for them right now to be looking at social media and getting an understanding of society when they see so much hate coming towards them. And it must be quite scary as well to be so confident, you know what I mean? So yeah, I've got no problem with left wingers coming onto my platform and being hateful because I understand they're flapping fish, you know, trying to get back in the water. And I feel sorry for them, but they made their bed. They made their bed, you know. Um, Grounding yourself was a real thing. Yeah, it is like. You like the Simpsons, don't you, man? And South Park. uh, so talking amongst yourselves. Never trust anyone with purple hair. Yeah, you're bang on her, like. Derry City, Ruptium. Spelt wrong. Spelt wrong. That's okay, mate. Chips right here. Two. Yeah, I don't talk to plants and trees, like, but you know, people do that, and they say it's the oxygen from your mouth that fucking helps the plants grow. Yeah, that's Tulip, my girl. She's a teacup pug. She doesn't leave me. She goes everywhere with me. That one. Yeah, it's a good gin. A good gin. I'm talking Scottish. But yeah, that's my rant, guys, about what I think about England, like, and how bad it is. Yeah, it is, mate. It is good to get. It's good to get fucking understand that everybody seems we're all on the same page. You know what I mean? And like, cause some, if you honestly, like, can you imagine yourself, like, because a lot of you are just like me, right? And you aren't stupid, and you can see what's going on. You can see how the government are behaving and everything, and all the silencing, and how they're saying Islam's a religion of peace, and all these people are coming in at the same time. So people with intelligence are like, "What the fuck's going on here?" So I imagine people that are like in their house that aren't online, that just watch YouTube videos, that think like me, and then like are thinking maybe they're ever going a bit mad. Maybe it's not what it looks like. Maybe it's just me or you. Yeah. And then we have a chat about it, and then everybody else is like, "Yeah, you're right," and I'm talking about it, and you're like, It feels good for me to know that I'm not going mad, you know because it is easy to go mad when nobody else is talking about it, and it should be talking about it. It's easy to go mad whenever everybody's calling you far right and racist. You know what I mean? Um, it is, of course, it is. You know what I mean? It can be doubting sometimes. You can doubt yourself sometimes. You know what I mean? So it is good to have these discussions and be frank and honest with each other about what we truly think is going on and how long we think it's going to be before it gets like the stage where we really do need to start thinking about moving people out. The people that want to move out, you know what I mean? I mean, I've said to my brother, I don't know many times, please come back to Northern Ireland. Bring everybody with you, Kelly, the family, the kids, mum, dad, everybody, bring everybody to come back, you know what I mean? Because he's in Anfield, and I've been there, I go there to see him, and I go out on the streets, and it's just fucking kids from different nationalities just out all hours of the night, and it's obviously he has to have his kids around all the time, and other lip scousers around that area have to make sure their kids are in, and and it's just not a nice relaxing environment. It really isn't. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it's and that's now. What's it gonna be like when my brother's kids are having kids? You know what I mean? Um, yeah, so that's just how I feel, you know what I mean? And crime rates went up, drugs gone up, violence on the streets gone up. It's not just the optics of it, it's the reality of it, So, yeah, like I say, if I'm saying that to my bro, you know what I mean, then I'm going to be saying it to you guys as well, to be honest with you. Like, it will be something people will need to look at, and there'll be other YouTubers that'll be saying he's off his nut and he's just trying to cause division or trying to cause scaremongering. I don't care. I don't care what you think. I know what I know. I can see what I can see. You know what I mean? Cheers, Needles Patrick. Thanks for popping in. Always good to see you guys from the other side coming in to see Freedom Dad. But yeah, it is getting a bit late, guys. I'm going to. I fucking slept today. Slept for about 3 hours. Um, but yeah, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. 109 minutes. Nearly fucking hell, man. It does go really quick. But cheers, James. Thanks for everything, guys. Thanks, moderators. Thanks for the love. Sorry I didn't read out as many comments as I would like, but I am here to talk about stuff as well. You know, I will come on and like just have a chat with comments and try and get as many comments as up. Thanks, James. Thanks, Freedom Lab. Yeah, Alan, you got to get on Facebook, man. Freedom.fd. Make sure it's the one with the picture. Send me a message, and I will give you my private number so you can call me. Okay, I've got no problem with that at all. And we'll have a chat. I promise you, it's not as bad as you think. I promise you, like, you know what I mean. I've been there and I've done it, and I've been in some fucking pits and really down low, and I know what it's like. And you know, you don't have anybody around you and stuff like that as well. I know how a hermit people can go and just whatever has caused this triggered this. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to go like that and fix it, but I'm going to give you the tools to hopefully, you know, get back to normal and also protect yourself for anything coming again. You know, that's the most important bit. But yeah, what can I say, like? And I'm not a mental health guy. I'm not a doctor, fucking hell. That's just my opinion of my experience, guys. I'm just here to help people if they need help. Just like my mates, and all my mates are around me. You know what I mean? I've got loads of guys like me, just like me, you know? Alan Edgar, I am normal. We are all normal. That's the best about it. Right, guys, so I'm going to go. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for all the new guys that are coming in. Please make sure you're subscribed. Check your subscription. Make sure you're still subscribed. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. And hit the bell and you might get a notification. Just depends what mood YouTube's in. But yeah, keep the chin up, guys. And tomorrow night, I won't, maybe a different live tomorrow night. Got to see what happens. But yeah, I've got a couple of lives that'll be outside the next couple of days, maybe into the weekend. And then after the weekend, we'll come back and we'll get a wee chat like this, okay? So, some good lives. I don't know how good they are, but I will be live. We will have a chat as well. Hello, Paul. I will. Tons of fun carving. I promise you I will. Okay, guys. As always, look after yourselves and God bless.